So The Boys Season 3 was a true mammoth of a season. I mean, there are certain opportunities that I did think that they kind of missed, but overall I do feel like they definitely took the whole franchise to a whole other level. What is up everybody, welcome back to my channel Lifestyle Critic. I hope you're having a brilliant day. So in this video we are going to be reviewing The Boys Season 3, which was super enjoyable, super inappropriate and super emotional as well, and they absolutely delivered week after week after week. I mean, the entire cast on that point definitely brought their A game every single episode, and it was a lot bigger and a lot bloodier than previous seasons. And I mean, there are so many characters in this series now, and I feel like they did a relatively good job in terms of balancing all of the characters and balancing all of the storylines as well. I mean, certain things I do think they could have done so much better. For example, Soldier Boy, herogasm, and I think the background and the business aspects of what's really going on at Vought. But you know, for the most part, I do feel like this season was really, really strong, and I'm going to be breaking it all down for you in this season series review. So like I said, loads of characters and in turn loads of storylines as well, but I'm going to be talking about the 5 main ones in this section. So the first one, of course, is Homelander's rise to power. So I absolutely loved it how they showed that this character just absolutely snapped from all of the control and kind of feeling like he's being pushed down, a little bit like Anakin Skywalker. You know, the Jedi Council were kind of keeping this character restricted, and he just absolutely snapped in the biggest way possible. So I feel like, you know, Homelander kind of did a similar thing, and then he just became the ultimate villain. And I love how on his side, he just wanted to humiliate everyone to kind of keep them in check and to ensure that they don't ever take his power away from him. And then against everybody else, he is just a true badass. And I just feel like Homelander was just such an epic villain, and literally a villain across this entire series so far, and was just such a threatening presence, a threatening force. And I just feel like Antony Starr just played this villain character absolutely brilliant. The second main storyline is, of course, the destruction and the desire to kill Homelander by any means necessary, including taking a temporary drug, the V24. Now, V24, I just think is its own storyline as well, and I just absolutely love all of the mind games that this was playing on a lot of people. So, for example, with Billy Butcher and Huey, they kind of become addicted to the V24 and the desire to become superheroes, and I just loved the conflict that this also had with MM and with Starlight as well, and how they really don't want these two characters to become superheroes, and are quite passionate about this as well. And just the conflict that this then has on the relationships, on the different statuses, on the mission at large as well. I just feel like the V24 and the desire to kill Homelander was just so brilliant, and it still has so many repercussions, not only on a health point of view, but also in terms of dividing the group as well. And you really did question, can they even come back from this as well? I mean, of course they did do right at the end, but it was just so good, especially when Starlight Annie kind of found out that it is really going to kill a person if they kind of take over 4 doses, which I just think was so tense. Connected to this, of course, is the next big storyline, which of course was Soldier Boy's return. Homelander before Homelander, they kind of changed this character up quite significantly actually from the comic books. As in the comic books, he's a bit of a weak character who always partakes in herogasm with Homelander in an attempt to hopefully be invited to the Seven, whereas this time they completely changed this character up to literally be Homelander before Homelander, and kind of was on his level as well in terms of being a true threat. But as this character was just so hyped before the season even started, I was just expecting so much more from him, especially as Jensen Ackles is such a formidable actor, and I just thought Soldier Boy was going to absolutely take over this season, but I don't feel like he quite met the expectation that me and a lot of other fan members had for this character. He was still wicked for what he did, and of course the final reveal that he is actually Homelander's father. I did think all of that was really wicked, but I just wanted so much more from this character, and I'm really hopeful that we do kind of see him again in season 4, as he can then just become an absolutely incredible character. Next up we of course have Kamiko and Frenchie, who whilst not in the big main storylines, I feel like they were slightly secondary in terms of their storylines, they were still very impactful, especially from an emotional point of view. So both of these characters' past have come back to haunt them, and you can really see whether or not they're able to deal with this. And Kamiko wants to give up her powers as she sees it as a bit of a curse, but then when she does give up her powers, she kind of then wants it back, as she then realizes that actually the powers are either a blessing or a curse dependent on the person that is using it, which I thought was a really, really interesting lesson. And then this takes us to our fifth storyline, which is of course Ryan and the conflict as well between whether or not he's going to go with Billy Butcher or if he's going to go to Homelander. I feel like this was played really, really significantly in the second season. I feel like again they could have done a little bit more with this, a little bit more in terms of the Soldier Boy storyline. They could have really amplified this up even more, but I'm sure that they will do in season 4, and I just thought it was so wicked just in terms of the final episode, the way in which he's interacting with the Soldier Boy character, the way in which Homelander is able to convince him and really connect with him on an emotional point of view. And I just feel like their father-son relationship, a theme definitely across this entire series, and connecting on a lot of different characters' emotional levels as well, I just thought was absolutely brilliant. Now from a positive point of view, I absolutely loved how they carried on certain threads from the start of the first season. So for example, Maeve's guilt, which he felt in season 1 for the destruction of everybody in the plane, and Homelander's desire to just be loved by everybody and to get everybody's validation, and he doesn't really want to do anything that would kind of harm that. But then as we see in the final few moments of season 3, you know, he is able to do whatever he wants and people will still love him. And I just love the way that even Stan Edgar was playing into this, Maeve was playing into this, Starlight was playing into this. Everybody recognized that Homelander is just loving everybody's attention and just always seeking their validation and approval. And I just think it's a really cool connected thread, like I said, from the first season. But of course, you know, this is The Boys and it is absolutely hilarious. I feel like all of the characters are just so good with their humor delivery. Their line delivery is just so spot on. You just literally can't help but burst out laughing with some of the inappropriate stuff that happens, and also just some of the crazy things that these characters say. And speaking of inappropriate stuff, this season was just so full of inappropriate moments and so many bloody and gory moments. I would have loved there to have been a little bit more battles, but kind of the battles that we did get and all of the blood and guts being spilled everywhere, I did think looked really, really wicked. And like I said earlier on, all of the characters are really, really layered, and you really do feel connected to a lot of them because they are able to get you in a deeper level from all of the emotional story arcs that they're having, all of the brilliant themes, for example, father and sons, accepting who you are, accepting the past, traveling to the past, you know, recognizing that you are not your parents. I just feel like there are so many brilliant themes on a deeper level that this series explores, whilst also having the aesthetic that The Boys series is of course known for. However, from a negative point of view, like I said earlier on, there were just so many aspects that I definitely feel like they could have elevated even further. For example, the Soldier Boy character, I think he was really, really great. He definitely was a threatening presence, especially the fact that he is able to suck out and destroy the V-23 inside of people. I thought, you know, he is a really threatening character, but I just would have loved them to have delved into this character a little bit more and just made him a little bit more prominent and a lot more integrated into the other storylines. I just feel like I said before, it was just so hyped that Soldier Boy's coming in. He's played by Jensen Ackles. He's going to be a really dark version of Captain America, and it was really, really good. Like I said, I just wish we would have gotten even more from it. Also, Herogasm, I feel like that episode was absolutely unbelievable and really excruciating to watch. I feel like they captured the superhero orgy situation really, really well. I would have thought, based upon all of the interviews all of the cast members were doing at the start of this series, that more of the main lead characters would have been involved with this. And I would have just loved there to have been more Vought scenes, a lot more innovation, a lot more deeper business stuff. I absolutely loved all of the marketing campaigns that we saw in the first couple of seasons. And we saw a little bit of this with A-Train, but I would have just loved to have seen even more of that. But you know, all in all, from a storylines perspective, The Boys Season 3 totally delivered. So the casting characters in The Boys literally are something else. They absolutely bring their A game to every single scene, and they just really are making this season what it is. So let's go through them one by one. So first up, of course, we have to go to Antony Starr, who just absolutely killed it as playing Homelander. I just think his facial expressions alone are just so good. You can really feel everything that he is feeling. And I just feel like from an acting point of view, he just takes us to a whole other level, literally. As his eyes, his mouth, everything, the way in which it moves is just so clever. And you can just feel every single emotion perfectly. And then at the same time, he is just the true ultimate villain and was just so threatening, so chilling, and killed so many people. I loved his Norman Osborn Green Goblin sequence in terms of talking to his darker self in the mirror, and the way in which this version was just a true evil person. And you know, the Homelander speaking into the mirror is the one that seeks validation and approval from everybody, and they were just really crushing this side of him. Like I said earlier on, Antony Starr just absolutely kills it as this main big bad lead villain, and I just feel like he really is unstoppable, and I can't wait to see how he's truly going to be unstoppable, especially with Ryan on his side. in the next season, it did kind of feel like he was going to lose his Homelander powers. I mean, even if that did happen, I guess he could have just got another dose of V23 inside of him. But you know, it was really interesting in terms of this character arc. I would have loved there to have been more superheroic scenes with this character in terms of flying around and kind of beating people up and kind of using more red laser visions. He kind of did this a lot more in the first 2 seasons. Maybe this was limited due to the pandemic, but I would have just loved there to have been even more sequences with this character. Next up, we have the yin to his yang. So we have Karl Urban, who was equally brilliant as the Billy Butcher character. Really, really hilarious with all of his line delivery. Just absolutely brilliant. You just can't help but burst out laughing with the line delivery that Billy Butcher just does. It was just so good. And the way in which he gets addicted to drugs as well, the V24, addicted to becoming a bit of a superhero. I loved how he has the same powers almost as Homelander, but with yellow laser eye beams. I feel like all of those sequences were really, really wicked. And you can just feel that Billy Butcher just loves it. Even though he hates superheroes and he wants to destroy and kill all of them, the way in which he just becomes what he hates, I just feel like is really, really deep from a Shakespearean point of view. And then we even go even deeper than that when we see how his younger brother committed suicide because of the violence inflicted by his father, and the violence that his father was inflicting onto him has really shaped him to be this person that he is. Oh god, I just think this character was just so brilliant as always, and he definitely had his Star-Lord moment as well, as he was so close to killing Homelander, but then decided not to, as of course Ryan was there as well when Soldier Boy was nearly going to destroy all of them. So I just feel like this character is just so layered. We of course have Jack Quaid next, who was really, really wicked as Huey. In a similar way to Karl Urban, I absolutely love Jack Quaid's delivery. He is just so brilliantly hilarious, and you can really feel for this character when he kind of feels emasculated from Starlight kind of always saving the day and kind of stopping Homelander and kind of keeping Huey out of trouble and all of this sort of stuff. You can really feel the burden of that. He's kind of sick of being overpowered his entire life, so when he sees the V24, he kind of sees this as his escape and opportunity to kind of turn the tables for once and to kind of be the savior, to be really, really strong. But I really, really do like how they explore that actually true strength is kind of believing in yourself and to believe in other people. So just the way in which he was smiling right at the end when he was helping Starlight, I just thought that was really, really brilliant. And just a true full circle moment for this character. I feel like he was probably a little bit more prominent in the first 2 seasons, but nonetheless, I feel like this character is really, really wicked. And I also love how they also hark back to the first season with this character, the first few moments, in fact, of the first season of the first episode, where A-Train kills the Robin character, and you can see that he still hasn't gotten over this, which I feel like is a really great callback to that first season and really does show that the Huey character has gone through so much trauma. We've got Erin Moriarty, who is so good as the Annie and Starlight character, and I love the pressure that Homelander was just inflicting on this character. You can really feel how chilling it is and how uncomfortable it is for this character. You don't know if Homelander's going to kind of kill her. The pressure that he's kind of inflicting on her from a PR point of view when he is forcing her to be in a relationship with him. I just feel like this character, you can just feel how uncomfortable she is in all of the different situations. And also, I mean, I wish they would have delved into this a little bit further, but the reason that she is able to kind of be at that level within the Vought organization is that she is the public sweetheart of the nation. And also on Instagram, she has just got so many millions of followers, so people really want to tap into this from a business point of view. Like I said, I wish we would have delved into this a little bit further, but we kind of did see it in the kind of final few episodes in terms of her turning this table around and using her influence and followers for good reasons. And I also love the guilt and the turmoil that she must have been feeling in terms of getting Supersonic killed, even though she tried so hard to not have him involved when he kind of was involved, and the way in which Homelander then just brutally killed this character after A-Train kind of betrayed him and then went to Homelander, tried to get more points in Homelander's book. I just feel like the A-Train character is just really, really dark, and the way in which he kind of got the Supersonic character killed off for his own personal gain, and the impact that this then has on the Annie Starlight character was just so brilliant. I mean, I wish we would have looked into the love triangle of Starlight, Supersonic and Huey a little bit more, as that could have been really, really good. But I also really like how this connects with the Maeve character as well. Maeve was a bit of an older sister figure to the Starlight character, and I love how this character also looked back at the first season And she was like, look, I was actually looking up to you, Starlight, when you were crying in the bathroom and you were just able to just be yourself fully, which is something that Maeve wanted to do. Maeve was kind of really bringing her Wonder Woman aspects into this role as well in terms of all of the fight sequences. The way in which she has a relationship with the Billy Butcher character, they both kind of feel like they're at the end of their lives, so they kind of just give in to their temptation. The way in which Maeve just really hates Homelander and just wants to kill him at all costs. I just feel like the Maeve character was just bringing so much. And I just feel like maybe they are going to give this character a bit of a happy ending at the end of this season, or maybe she's going to get her powers back and she's going to become another figure who's going to help the boys in the future. I loved how Soldier Boy knew Liberty, and I thought it was really, really nice how the actress came back in the first couple of episodes, really bringing the Stormfront character back, and then seemingly acting as if she committed suicide. I'm sure we'll see this character again, but it was really nice to kind of connect her back with the end of the second season, as she was such a big figure in that season. Jessie T. Usher was really, really great as well as the A-Train character. I love how this character, you just really love him and hate him at the same time. So for example, I feel like it was really good how they got the Black Lives Matter movement in through this character, and now he really wants to save his people and really wants to stop all of the hatred and the difficulties that these people go through. But then at the same time, he is a really conflicted character, as he only really cares about himself and is always putting himself first. He's always betraying a lot of people, and even though he was wanting to save and help his brother, even though at first he didn't really want to, he then ultimately got him paralyzed, and when he was trying to help him as well, his brother just didn't want to hear any of it. His brother was kind of thinking that he's always doing it for the wrong reasons and all this for selfish reasons as well. And the way in which this then ultimately did kind of happen from a PR point of view, as A-Train destroyed and killed Blue Hawk, but then Blue Hawk's heart was then now inside A-Train to kind of resuscitate him, and now A-Train doesn't have any problems and is now able to be a true superhero. So does this then undermine all of the good things that he was doing before? Like I said earlier on as well, he was really evil towards Supersonic. So I just feel like this character, God, it's a really complicated character. I wish we would have got into this character a little bit more. As you can see, there are so many storylines, there's so many characters, but I do feel like this character has got the opportunity and capability of being absolutely incredible as well. Love how Ashley has just really climbed the corporate ladder within Vought, but you can really feel the pressure on this character, especially in the final few moments of this character in this season. You can feel like she really loves the power that she has, and she does exert this to a lot of the other human characters. And by the way, I love the fact that she's got a bit of a second in command called Ashley as well. But then at the same time as this, with the superheroes, you can really feel how she is really feeling really squashed by them as well, even though she tries so hard to kind of be really confident with them. I hope that we do get to explore this from a mental health psychology point of view next season with this character. Frenchie, of course, a brilliant character. I love how little Nina is coming back and really does make this character feel so small. He's got so many past love interests in this series, and I just feel like he was so hilarious and really emotionally driven in this season. Kamiko, like I mentioned earlier on, longs for a normal life so badly, and I love how she then changes her mind, because actually maybe she does enjoy being violent and kind of saving the day. And I just loved all of the musical numbers with this character. Even though this character never really says anything verbally, you can really just feel everything she's going through. And I just feel like this actress is just absolutely brilliant. Black Noir was really, really cool. I love how they got their own version of the Looney Tunes animated characters within this character's world to kind of really bring him to life. And I thought it was a little bit Shakespearean in terms of the fact that this character wants to kill off the father of Homelander, but then he is killed off by the son of the father that he wants to kill. Similarly to A-Train, I feel like they really could have explored this character a lot more, as it is kind of history repeating itself, as people really wanted to kill off the Soldier Boy character, as he was just such a negative force of nature. And now people want to do the same thing with Homelander, kind of in a bit of a modern setting. So I feel like Black Noir really could have been at the epicenter of that, and he kind of was, but he was a little bit sidelined at the same time. I absolutely loved Laz Alonso. I feel like he was so brilliant as MM. You can literally feel all of the emotional conflict towards so many different characters. So for example, against the stepfather of his daughter, he just wants to protect his daughter at all costs, especially after everything that he has gone through from Soldier Boy just destroying his previous family. So now he just wants to protect his daughter so much. But her stepfather just really wants to take her into all of the superhero Homelander space and the conflict that he has with this situation. And then also from a boy's point of view, he just absolutely detests everything that Billy Butcher is doing, as it just stands against everything that they really believe in. And then all of the herogasm sequences, I feel like Laz Alonso was such a trooper for everything that they kind of put this character through in those sequences. And I just feel like he was just really putting his heart on his sleeve. and I just feel like he just aced all of the sequences that he was in. Victoria Newman really does show that she is a woman on a mission, and she is not going to let anybody get in her way in terms of her wanting to climb her own particular career ladder. And I just loved it in terms of being a really chilling character, similar to Homelander, I guess, in terms of just being a bit of a superhero undercover, betraying Stan Edgar for her own selfish reasons as well, wants to climb up within the political ladder, and yet she is able to be really influenced and really scared by Homelander, yet will always have a bit of a trick and ace card up her sleeve. So I feel like this character is really, really complex. Love Stan Edgar, love that he really is the man pulling all of the strings. This really isn't the last time that we've seen this character, of course. I'm sure he will come back in season 4. And I just loved it, how he really did plant seeds of doubt in Homelander, yet Homelander was able to come out of this and actually be like, no, I'm not going to have any constraints on me, as Stan Edgar really did feel like he was able to control all of these superheroes, even though he is a bit of a human himself. So I just feel like this character has so much potential and we just need to see him again. Ryan, we didn't get to see this character that much. I'm sure season 4 will completely flip this, but I feel like it was really, really brilliant in terms of, he was feeling really guilty for, of course, killing Becca Butcher, and the way in which Billy Butcher then kind of just throws this character to the side. He was trying to do this for good reasons, to kind of keeping him protected and to avoid Homelander maybe following Billy Butcher to kind of find Ryan, but the way in which this really then backfired on Billy Butcher, as Homelander was then able to tap into this, and I thought it was really emotional actually when Ryan was saying to Homelander, don't you feel bad for the way in which I almost killed the Stormfront character, because Billy Butcher was making him think that he was a failure for killing Becca Butcher, but actually Homelander was like, look, sometimes bad things happen because we are just so powerful, and he was really able to tap into exactly what Ryan needed to hear, which is why Ryan ultimately went with Homelander. And I just thought it was so funny how he was calling Soldier Boy Grandpa. I wonder if this is the thing that really pushed Soldier Boy over the edge and really did not want him to be connected with that family. Is there were 3 generations of super powerful villainous potential characters, and I just can't wait for them to explore this even further in season 4. I mean, I've said it a couple of times, love Jensen Ackles, love the Soldier Boy character. Really interesting how they flipped him from being a bit of a weak character in the comics to being a true powerhouse. Like I said, Homelander before Homelander, but just feel like they could have just done so much more with this character. I mean, what they did do in terms of, him wanting to wipe out all of Payback and kind of being on Billy Butcher's side. I mean, Billy Butcher and Homelander kind of like Joker and Batman, and kind of Billy Butcher having Soldier Boy, who was ultimately Homelander's father, on his side. I just feel like, all of those aspects were really, really good. I just feel like they really could have pushed it even more with Soldier Boy, and I'm just really hopeful that we do get to see that in future seasons. And last but not least, we of course have Chace Crawford, who was so good as the Deep. I feel like in all of the other previous seasons, this character was a little bit of a secondary character, whereas this time, he was still a bit of a secondary character, but you really do get to see him coming out of his shell, and all of the sequences, him being so desperate to try to get Homelander's approval. I mean, he's even got a massive poster drawing, illustration of Homelander and him in his room. And I just thought all of his sequences are being really inappropriate with all octopuses and fishes. I just thought was absolutely hilarious. And it really did tap into the joke of Aquaman sleeping with fishes. I feel like Chace Crawford was just such a good sport for just going all in with this. I love the power struggle as well in terms of him and his wife, in terms of is she the one that's really helping this character? Everybody kind of looks at him as a bit of a stupid character, but actually, he is kind of breaking out from this and wanting to change people's perceptions. The fact that he rejoined the Seven, I thought was really, really wicked. I just feel like the Deep has so much potential for being really, really wicked. And Chace Crawford, really similarly to all of the other characters, just delivered his lines really, really well. All of his facial expressions, you can really feel everything that he is going through. And again, like I keep saying with a lot of other characters, I'm hopeful that we get to see even more of him in season 4. So from a cast and characters point of view, The Boys season 3 was absolutely brilliant. So the visuals in this season were really, really strong, especially considering the fact that they filmed this entire season during the pandemic, which I thought was really, really wicked. I mean, I would have loved there to have been a lot more superpowers being used. I mean, Crimson Countess in the character section, I didn't mention her because I just thought she was such a waste of a character, but I just feel like they really could have done so much more with the powers. I mean, the final 3 episodes definitely did elevate this to another level, and it was really, really brilliant from a superheroics point of view. But I just feel like the previous 5 episodes, they really could have done so much more. But that being said, this show is so renowned for all of its blood and guts everywhere, and they definitely weren't afraid of really going into that. So many inappropriate sequences, especially all of the Thanos jokes. In terms of, couldn't Ant-Man just go up Thanos and just explode him? And they really did explore that with the termite character. But like a lot of the other shows filmed during the pandemic, you can definitely feel the pandemic effect, especially in the first couple of episodes where, you know, it is a couple of characters in a room having a chat. And I'm really hopeful, and I am sure, that the fourth season will be a lot more like the first couple of seasons in terms of having these massive big set pieces, massive big superheroic type sequences, which I can't wait for. But, you know, all of that being said, given the fact that it was made during the pandemic, I do feel like the visuals are really, really good. So from a comparisons point of view, it's really difficult. I've been thinking really, really hard about which is my favourite season of the 3 seasons of The Boys released so far. And no, this is a bit of a cop-out answer, but I have to say all 3 of them are pretty much on par. They all really do deliver all of the wicked cliffhangers each week, so many incredible sequences, so many inappropriate sequences, really deep and layered characters, which I feel like is really, really wicked. In terms of comparing it to DC and Marvel, I feel like actually this show is a lot stronger than Peacemaker, it's a lot stronger than Hawkeye, a lot stronger than Falcon and the Winter Soldier. I don't think it's as good as Loki or WandaVision, but you know, this show really does sit in another league of its own, and in a similar way to how Invincible is really, really unpredictable, really, really shocking, really, really bloody and gory as well, and really is creating its own space, especially for Amazon Prime, as really dark superhero-based storylines. So overall, I absolutely love the 3rd season of The Boys. It was such a strong season that definitely took everything to another level. A couple of missed opportunities that really could have made this season truly unforgettable. There's so many brilliant cliffhangers, so many unbelievable characters, so many good storylines, really, really taking them on a deeper emotional level as well, and introducing really, really wicked new characters as well. The final couple of episodes truly were edge of your seat viewing, and I just can't wait to see how they're going to take this even further in season 4, and the cast just absolutely deliver week after week after week for this show. And so for all of those reasons, I'm going to give it a massive 7.5 out of 10. Now I'd love to hear what you thought of the 3rd season of The Boys, so let me know in the comment section below. Otherwise, I look forward to seeing you in my next video.